for our deadline. As promised, phase 1 is complete. The comics are out of the office. Mm-hmm. After the preliminary organization, they are now on to phase 2, where they're going to be organized with everything that was already in the basement.
Right.
Okay. So tell me, in general, first, how do you feel about the completion of phase 1?
I'm happy to see the office is all cleared.
Uh-huh.
But now I can't get through the back of the basement.
You can. As you saw...
It's very challenging, to say the least, right now, because it's like a little tunnel.
Well, and as you saw, I did make it easier between last night and tonight, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot easier.
Yeah. It's just, phase 2 is going to be the big phase, mm-hmm. But this was basically the prep work for it.
I understand that. I know that, but I'm saying now it's all in the basement, and now the basement has to be reconfigured and reorganized to the point where everything is nicely tucked to against the wall and everything.
But we're on the way.
No, we are. I know.
We ran into another issue. I'm going to see maybe if people, when they finally see this, if they could suggest things where in the office, the linoleum has black spots. And my wife's theory is that the comics resting on the flooring caused them. But everything I've read, and what I'm trying to reiterate, is that what I've read, it's moisture stains.
Because it's only in the middle where the desk used to be, and your comics were around the desk.
But they weren't on top. The desk wasn't on top of them.
No. Your comics were around the desk area, on top of the linoleum.
Actually, my comics were technically the parts that were on the linoleum were on the walkway between the office. But the primarily place was on the walkway between the office door and the basement door that you just said. Yes, it is.
That's not true.
They were along that wall.
I couldn't get to my desk because the comics were underneath my desk.
Right.
And yours too. And I couldn't get out from your end of the desk. I had to go back and around to get out of the basement or the office.
All those places that you said the comics were are not where we're seeing those black spots.
Yes, it is.
From what I've read online, it could be mold underneath the linoleum.
Because it wasn't there before.
It could be mold that is dead, which, we had remediation.
But again, it doesn't make sense because we had the mold remediation already.
Right. But the stains could still be there, even though the mold is dead, from what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is, when I bought the house, it wasn't there. And if you recall, we had no sump pump in. So you're telling me with no sump pump in, the flooring was fine, and now we have a sump pump in, and after a year or so, now we have black spots. Doesn't make sense to me.
Well, there's a couple other things it could be. Let me finish. The black spots could appear as a result of moisture being trapped, which, of course, if we have furniture on top of it, that could be a reasonable explanation. And lastly, between the time we moved in and now, we've had waterproofing put in. Waterproofing changes the configuration of the flow of the water. The water that was going underneath the house could now be flowing to that spot, meaning that would be the lowest point of the house. Something like that, we wouldn't know. You would need a structural engineer.
Again, that doesn't make sense to me at all.
It kind of does.
It really doesn't, because again, the house was not remediated at all for mold, right? And the flooring was fine. It was clean as a whistle. And now you're telling me
it wasn't clean as a whistle.
Yes, it was.
No, it
there
wasn't.
There were no spots. Check the photos.
The flooring was, but again, there was mold. But there was mold in the air.
There's mold in the air, but not on the floor.
Well, basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that the difference is, since we've remediated, perhaps the water is now flowing.
Okay, so why not the bathroom?
In a different way?
Why
because
not
the bathroom's because they're both at a higher elevation.
Why not where the mops are?
Because they're at a higher elevation. There's
high.
A step up.
So?
It doesn't matter. Water automatically goes to the lowest point.
Then you would see in every aspect of the office, and it's not. It's only in the middle.
Well, again, I would probably be surprised if it were completely level. I don't think it is.
I don't know.
again, I think it's just either accumulating in there, or, and again, I think it's dead. I don't think it's live. We'll have to do a mold test to determine that. And I think having mopped it several times today, sprayed bleach, sprayed vinegar, I think the only thing we would have to do to fix it is actually tear it out and then put new flooring in.
But by your theory, even if we were to get new flooring, if what you're saying is true with the molds, which I don't think it is because we had it treated, then it's going to happen again.
Well, when they put new flooring down, they could put a vapor barrier, which will keep the mold basically down. And again, I don't know that it's necessarily mold. I think it could be something that was dead.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because the area of the concrete that's exposed by the sump pump is completely clean.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be completely sure, you could pick a piece of linoleum with black spots on it, use the X-Acto knife, cut the linoleum out, and lift it up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's going to be something that, I mean, I don't think we could remedy soon, but it's something that we're going to have to do before we sell.
I think that there are a lot more other important things we need to remedy for that.
I disagree with that because of the plans that we've had for that area, and also because if it is mold, there's a potential hazard.
Dehumidifiers working like crazy down there.
Yes,
too.
And I also have the air
and
purifier.
We have a sump pump in. So what I'm saying to you is, if there were molds, you would be smelling mist or some sort of
right. So it could be dead.
An odor in the air.
It could be dead, and that's just left over. Regardless, I'm going to get a mold test, even just like a cheapo one from Walmart to test it. You know, I don't have to tell you, there's a lot of danger with black mold. You know, even look at The Last of Us. That's fungus.
Yeah, that's depressing. I don't want to watch that.
Well, to recap, Part A of the project is complete. Part B is going to start shortly. I don't know if we're going to do as regular updates with Part B because I'm not sure how much you can actually help me with Part B.
I mean, moving those boxes, forget it. I'll probably be bedridden.
Well, no, what it's going to be now mostly is opening up the boxes that I know are unorganized.
You are? I thought you were simply just moving the boxes in the middle of the basement and putting them off to the wall or against the wall.
Well, now again, I want to grab like those ones that are against the wall in the back are the ones that we took out in haste, if you remember.
Yeah.
So some of those have to be bagged. Some of them, you know, going to have different titles.
So you're going to be bringing them back to the office to be bagged?
No.
How are you going to bag them?
I've been bagging and boarding in the basement too.
You have?
And then just saying, okay, well, here's all Wolverines. Let's put this, again, in a Wolverine box, for example. I mean, I've already started it. So it just is keeping it up.
Yeah.
Any parting words for tonight?
I'm excited to see the progress. And I'm really happy to see that the office is all clear now. And we have a walkway where we're not tripping and falling on comics and slipping and sliding everywhere. So that's a relief.
Yeah, and once Part A is...
It's a huge weight.
Once Part A. Once we have the pictures that are hung up, we'll maybe take a picture and throw it into this video too.
Well, you didn't do before and after though. So.
Yeah. So.
So people don't know what you're talking about.
Well, they'll see it, how it looks. It looks nice. And I could start, again, doing live streams downstairs, though I think that people tend to like the Saturday morning ones up here. Because they like hearing you and they like hearing Matthew.
Yeah.
We should call Matt Woods over because he's very handy. Maybe he could do doors and whatnot.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
Matt Woods, we need your help.
Especially with that drawer.
Bring the goats. Yeah, no, that kind of organization.
That's great.
Is not for this house, though, as you've said.
I love that, though. That's what you need.
Oh, yeah, I do
but
need that.
Not for your 16,000 comics. That's not gonna accommodate that many. You need like a bigger, like, drawer organization than that.
No, we can figure it out. Well, 10 minutes. Over 10 minutes. Anything else to add?
Good night.
Good night.